Sup, you beautiful bastards? Hope you're having a fantastic Tuesday. Welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show, and let's just jump into it. And the first thing we have to talk about today is this horrifying situation coming out of Perris, California. It's early Sunday morning, a 17-year-old girl in Perris, California calls police claiming she escaped a home where she is being held against her will. She reportedly called on a cell phone she found in the home. She said her other siblings were still being held inside. So deputies respond to the call, they enter the home, and they find the teenager's 12 other siblings. Initially, they thought all 12 were children, but they later discovered that 7 of them were actually adults. The victims were reportedly so malnourished and dirty, they just appeared younger. In fact, the deputies thought that 17-year-old that escaped reported all of this, they thought she was 10. And in total, the 13 victims ranged from the age 2 to 29. And how they were found is both infuriating and heartbreaking. The Riverside County Sheriff's Department issued a statement saying, further investigation revealed several children shackled to their beds with chains and padlocks in dark and foul-smelling surroundings. But the parents were unable to immediately provide a logical reason why their children were restrained in that manner. Which I will say, the first part of that statement, shocking. The second part, confusing, as if there was a logical explanation why you would shackle a child to a bed. Also, yes, as you may have already figured out by now, they were being held like this by their parents. These two, David Allen Turpin and Louise Ann Turpin. These two pieces of garbage have been arrested. They are currently in jail with their bail set at $9 million. They're being charged with 9 felony counts of torture, 10 felony counts of child endangerment. As far as the victims, reportedly they were being interviewed by Child Protective Services and Adult Protective Services. According to the police, the victims all claim to be starving. They're provided food and beverages. They're being admitted to different hospitals for medical examinations and treatment. As of recording this video, we don't have more information as far as their condition now. And of course, this situation brings up the question, how did this happen and no one knew? And so of course, people have been diving into their past. And so there have been reports on who their former employers were, their previous bankruptcies, their previous residences. Also at this point, it's unclear at what point or how long these parents have chosen to isolate their family. There are pictures from 2011, 2012 showing them on trips to Disneyland. The last photos uploaded to their page show the family at a vow renewal in 2016. We also learned that the family is reportedly deeply religious, but reportedly the family didn't belong to a church in the area. Also, as you've probably noticed from the pictures, they're all matching. They reportedly did that for protective reasons. We also learned, thanks to California records, that the father had received state approval to run a private school from his home. That school had 6 students. He was listed as the principal. And ultimately, that is where we are right now. There are also those reports that you see in every instance like this where the neighbors are like, they seem normal, maybe kind of weird. Not lock your 13 children in your home weird, but weird. And ultimately what I end up hoping is, one, since it's not technically legal to throw people in a fire as a proper punishment, hopefully these 2 disgusting individuals are prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And 2, I hope and fear for the 13 victims. The youngest ones are the only ones that really have any chance at a sense of normalcy in life. I mean, just think about it. One of the victims, one of the kids was 29 years old. They've lived the 29 years, almost 3 decades under these crazy people. I just fear and I hope for them. But of course, this is the Philip DeFranco Show. I want to know, what is your takeaway from this story? What do you think, and what is the proper punishment? Let me know in those comments down below. Then let's talk about another false alarm. Of course, yesterday we covered the false alarm in Hawaii about an incoming ICBM, and I guess Japan wanted to join the party. At 6:55 p.m. local time, Japanese national broadcaster NHK issued the following notification to their users. NHK News Alert, North Korea likely to have launched missile, evacuate inside the building or underground. Now, it is important to note that this situation is different than the one we saw in Hawaii. One, North Korea has actually in the past few months fired a missile over Japan. Unlike Hawaii, it wasn't the government issuing this announcement, it was a news agency. And finally, unlike Hawaii, they didn't retract this after 38 minutes. NHK ended up issuing a correction in 5 minutes, saying the news alert sent out earlier about North Korea missile was a mistake. No government J alert was issued. Later adding, NHK is apologizing after issuing a false alert that said North Korea had probably launched a missile and warned people in Japan to take cover. NHK says a switching error is to blame. And they then did not elaborate on switching problems. So I will say I kind of want to give NHK props for responding and correcting the situation over 7 times faster than Hawaii. But also too, is this going to be a new problem now? Like, was this situation similar to Hawaii in that they were like, let's test the system out and the test button, the real button were right next to each other? Or did someone over at NHK go like, oh my God, that's a missile. Oh wait. It's a smudge. No, it's a smudge. Why'd you hit the button? They're gone. I'll text them. This feels like it's the ultimate, sorry, just a prank, bro. But from that, I want to share some stuff I love today. And today in Awesome, brought to you by DeFrancoElite.com. DeFranco Elite, of course, the best way to support this show, everything we're building. You get exclusive stuff, early stuff, you even get coupon codes. You want to snag any of our awesome shirts, hoodies, our exclusive pretentious hat, sports hat. Those will only be up for a few more days. And if you're at DeFranco Elite, you get a 20% coupon. And in fact, after today's show over at DeFrancoElite.com, we're doing a live Q&A. Maybe I'll see you there. And the first bit of awesome is we got a new trailer for Love, Simon. I can just tell from watching this trailer I'm gonna cry like a little bitch baby. But I need movies like that. It's like a doctor's checkup. Once a month I try to make sure I watch one movie, most likely usually a Disney Pixar movie that'll make me cry. Last movie that really got me? Ooh, Coco. He starts singing that song to his grandma. Oh, but enough about that. We also got an honest trailer for It, followed by an honest game trailer for Street Fighter V. We also got a Life Noggin video on why is it so hard to fall asleep. And if you want to see the full versions of everything I just shared, the secret link of the day, anything at all, links as always are in the description down below. And then let's talk about this craziness coming out of Canada. Last Friday there was a report, Kaola Noman, she's a little 11-year-old girl, she's Muslim. She reportedly gets attacked by a man with scissors who's trying to cut off her hijab. And here she is detailing the crime to the media.
This morning, me and my brother were walking together to school, and sadly, someone insulted me by cutting my hijab 2 times. I felt the man, and I turned around and I saw him with his scissors, and he ran away. Me and my brother noticed, and then we both walked to school together, and we told my principal. We followed this crowd of people to be safe. He came again. He continued cutting my hijab again. All that he had to do was smile. He just smiled and ran away.
And following this interview, things just take off. 1, you have the police investigating. They're saying they're investigating this incident as a hate crime. And 2, this story blows up on social media and almost immediately becomes an international story. There are headlines about the story everywhere, drew public condemnation from very important public figures. You had the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, speaking out about this.
My heart goes out to the young girl who was attacked, seemingly for her religion. I can't imagine how afraid she must have been. I want her and her family and her friends and community to know that is not what Canada is, and that is not who Canadians are.
Ontario Premier Kathleen Wynne tweeting, "This is a cowardly act of hatred and has no place in Ontario. This does not represent who we are. We must stand firm in our support of this young girl who was assaulted simply for wearing a hijab." And then, following the weekend, things drastically changed. Police made a stunning announcement saying, after a detailed investigation, police have determined that the events described in the original news release did not happen. The investigation is concluded. After that news broke, the Toronto District School Board released a statement saying, "We are very thankful this assault did not in fact happen. We won't be commenting further." Justin Trudeau's office releasing a statement saying, "We would direct all the questions on the investigation to the Toronto Police Service. We are thankful and relieved that this incident did not take place." And there is seemingly no other explanation or insight into what actually happened. And it doesn't really look like we're going to get answers. Did she just decide to lie? Was it based in any reality, like there was a creepy guy and so then she made up this whole other story? Was it a planned hoax? Was it just for attention? Did the mother know? The mother speaking at that press conference? How did it get this far? And people have been blaming everyone. People criticizing the girl, the family, some also criticizing the school, criticizing police. This because they spread the story so quickly without properly investigating. And of course, following this incident, people are worried about the fallout. A false claim about a hate crime has an impact past that initial situation. Their fear is that victims of actual hate crimes will be far less likely to come forward. This because fake claims like the one we're talking about today make it less likely they're going to be believed. And so with all of that said, I want to pass the question off to you. What is your takeaway from this story? I mean, just personally, I'm confused as to why the police aren't releasing more information. I think it's incredibly important to know if the mother knew at any time. Did she find out and then she told the police? Did the little girl or her brother finally confess to this being fake, or was it because of cameras they realized this never happened? All of that seems to matter, yet they're going, well, it's fake, case closed, never mind, let's move on. It just seems odd. Are they trying to protect the family, even though a crime was committed, but it was an 11-year-old girl? But yeah, I just love to know your thoughts on this one. And then let's talk about this Nina Agdal situation. Nina, if you don't know, is a very popular model. She's been in Maxim, Sports Illustrated, won she was Rookie of the Year. She's modeled for Billabong, got 1.7 million followers on Instagram, and she's part of a story today that has to do with fat shaming. And as you might not expect, given that she is her, she's not the one fat shaming. She made international headlines because reportedly she was being fat shamed. On her Instagram, she posted this photo with the caption, "Today I'm disappointed and appalled at the still very harsh reality of this industry." She says her agent received an unapologetic email concluding that Venice Fort Lauderdale magazine would not run her cover story, saying it did not reflect well on my talent, it did not fit their market, adding the publisher claimed my look deviated from my portfolio, and that I did not fit into the sample size samples, which is completely false. If anyone has any interest in me, they know I am not an average model body. I have an athletic build and healthy curves. After a tough year of taking a step back from the insensitive and unrealistic pressures of this industry and dealing with paralyzing social anxiety, I walked into that shoot as a 25-year-old woman feeling more comfortable in my own skin and healthier than ever before. Some days I'm a sample size, some days I'm a size 4, some a 6. And she continues, two, shame on you and thank you to the publisher for reaffirming how important it is to live your truth and say it out loud, no matter who you are or what size. And following this gaining traction, she did an interview with Megyn Kelly, and there, Kelly read a statement from the magazine, saying, "We think Nina Agdal is a beautiful and extremely talented model. That is why she was the focus of a 10-page story published in our winter issue. As far as why she wasn't on the cover, they said it had nothing to do with how Miss Agdal looks in a bathing suit. Her physique is enviable by any criteria. We wish to use an image from that shoot for our digital cover, the cover promoted on our website, but her agent declined." So a very standard defense. It's not about her looks, but unfortunately for the magazine, there was also initial correspondence when they decided not to give her this cover, where in a letter they sent to Agdal's agent read, "We would love to revisit the possibility of a printed cover when she is back in top shape." And just them seemingly lying about this, it does feel like they realize they're in the wrong here. Now, something that was interesting following this interview, some people were saying that Megyn Kelly is probably not the best person to speak on this topic. And the reason for that is she actually had a fat-shaming controversy last week. Last week, when speaking to Maria Kang, a fitness trainer, Kelly was quoted as saying, "You should parlay the shaming thing into a professional business, because some of us want to be shamed. When I was in law school, I was gaining weight. I said to my stepfather, if you see me going into that kitchen one more time, you say, 'Where are you going, fat ass?' And it works." But she also later clarified those comments, talking about her personal experience, saying that her family is, or at one point has all been obese. When she was younger, she was also a large child. She was constantly bullied over it, so she tried so many different ways to try and motivate herself to lose weight. I think she's gotten healthier to her approach to eating now that she's an adult. But also what I would say is there's a difference with you saying, "Hey, call me a fatty so I have a negative feeling so maybe I don't do something," and the genuine bullying and hatred thrown towards people every single day, whether in person or online. Right, there's a difference if I ask my wife, "Hey baby, just if I go for a donut, call me a fat ass," and some random person on the internet that's like, "Nice face, you fat pig." Right, there's just a difference there. The second of the two is a garbage person. The first, it's a weird negative motivation thing. But I do want to pass the question off to you just in general. What do you think about fat shaming? And then also, what do you think about Nina's situation? Is hers different because she lives in a world where the industry is all superficial? Or no, it's just the same, or maybe even more important there because millions of people will look to that as maybe the norm? Which, by the way, you should never look to a magazine, a video, anything and go like, "Oh, that's the normal." It's just not the case. And two, where do you see the line for fat shaming versus body positivity? I've talked about this on the show. 90% of me loves the idea of body positivity, the whole movement. No one should be bullied for how they look. People should be comfortable in their own skin. But at what point does it change into the promotion of an unhealthy lifestyle? And obviously this question's not connected to Nina. If you think Nina is in any way overweight, you're stupid. And I'd just love to know your thoughts there. And that's where I'm going to end today's show. And remember, if you liked this video, you like what I'm trying to do on this channel, hit that like button. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you don't miss these daily videos, which actually, if you did miss yesterday's show, you want to catch up, click or tap right there to watch that. Or if you want to watch the newest behind the scenes vlog, click or tap right there to watch that. But that said, of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you tomorrow.